Hello, everyone, and welcome to Horrornightoasis, a radio show where we discuss all the latest movies and news from the world of horror. Joining me tonight for a wonderful show is my co-host Ian. Ian, are you there?
uh, Kinda.
No, I'm right there with you. It's been a busy couple days, and trying to pinpoint to get the things to work is another thing. But we're here, and boy, do we have a film to discuss. Uh, Here we are thinking let's switch it up a little bit with February and just throw some titles out there that you know we always discuss the weird ones, and this is
Yeah.
obviously one of those. And I don't know, it just comes full circle, I guess. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm loopy. I'm tired. It's just one of those days. But we're talking Mouse of Horrors, and it's it's a Mickey Mouse exploitation movie. It's a slasher. Um, I swear it's by the same people that did half of Louise's films. Um, because there's some familiar faces in there.
Yeah.
Um, Especially the blonde, which is Danielle Scott, and she's in everything. She was the stepmother in the last film. She was in. I think it's the exact same character she played in Mary Had a Little Lamb, um, where she was the dopey blonde. But I digress. Mouse of Horrors, we're getting right into it, people. Um, there's no sugarcoating this one. We're following Chloe, who is leaving to go to America to go to college in California or some state. I don't know, California, I think. And her dad is not really too proud because he doesn't really want her to leave because it's so many hours away, and she's kind of his muse because he's also a writer, and he's starting to write a new book, or manuscript for a book, and it's relating on the myth of the mouse creature. They don't say it what it is. It's just a mouse creature that lived on a boat and was a cannibal or something like that. Um, and it sort of plays into how the film progresses. And so she meets up, her dad's not happy with it, but whatever. She meets up with a bunch of friends and at a at a bar, club bar somewhere in a hotel. I don't know. It's one of the many issues with the film. Um, but they meet up, and Chloe's friend, I think it's Kim or Sam, one of them. I don't really care. I didn't really care to pinpoint names down. It's not one of those films where honestly it matters, because everyone's fodder, and it's just ridiculous. So just know Chloe's the main character, um, and we'll get into Chloe. We'll get into Chloe, but they decide, hey, before you leave, let's do one last hurrah and go to the fairgrounds because the friend works there and they'll sneak them in. And he said, all right, let's do that. So they all decide to go to the fairgrounds, sneak in, and at the same time, a little bit before that, we're introduced to, of course, the particular mouse of horror, Mouse, as he's titled. And he is in. I know you haven't seen the Terrifier films yet, but this is pretty much Art the Clown in mouse form, with the mouse mask on. So
Yeah.
Art the Mouse, because it has the exact same mannerisms. No talking, wide mouth, a lot of waving of the fingers, emoting. Very mimey stuff with a mouse mask on. Um, and his central focus of the film, Mouse, is he is a genetically mutated creature created by Dr. Rupert, aka Dr. Rupert Mouse. And Dr. Rupert Mouse was a surgeon, medical professional, and he got Mouse from a institution who he just agreed to turn him into this rat creature. But you don't really get to see his face. You just see the mouse mask. And there's also a cameo, which we'll get into a little bit later. Well, honestly, we'll get into it pretty soon. But yeah, they get there, they go to the fair, and then they start getting attacked by Mouse, and um, and there's reasons why Mouse is after them, and then it just kind of throws it out the window. Um, a little bit later on in the film, Ian, this movie was not very good.
No.
At moments, I was into it because I liked I guess some plot that they've thrown in there with Dr. Rupert being the
Yeah.
doctor. But my God, this thing was put together so haphazardly, and like they didn't put any care into it. I mean, it's a little bit better than Mousetrap because I like the sort of the progression and the gore, and because,
Yeah.
like I said, it's very Terrifier-ish with the kills. I mean, they don't really. I mean, they do kind of go out, not all out like a Terrifier film, but they do a lot of practical effects. There's like a lady getting her eyes pulled out, guts getting ripped out, bunch of stuff, going on there. Some good, some not so good. But it's more gory than you expected it to be. That's the thing. As compared
Yeah.
to Mousetrap, where it's just a dude in a cheapo Mickey Mouse mask and going around barely stabbing people. Like, if that, just staring at someone in virtual reality glasses, like, ooh, I'm gonna put my knife up to your face. This one, it's Mouse the Terrifier, terrifying mouse, whatever you want to put it, where he's killing people. And I like the subplot with the doctor and what he does, the idea behind the doctor, but everything else was just null and void. Because like when Mouse is on there and he's killing people, that's where it was fun. For how bad it kind of reveled in its nature, itself. It kind of reveled in it. There's like a mud puddle and it just kept jumping in it. And like, I don't care how bad, muffled everything is. But like the all the characters I could give a shit about. I didn't care about Chloe. I didn't care about any of her friends. I didn't care about Chloe's dad. Like, they were just fodder. And it's just like, I mean, I get that it's supposed to be a slasher, but like, you're supposed to kind of care in a way. They're kind of making you care for especially Chloe and some of the other characters. But like, they don't emote, and like, they bicker about like there's just those characters just sucked. I mean, there's no sugarcoating it. They were terrible. And Chloe, I don't know how she was picked. She went and auditioned and she got this role. And you have to let that sink in. She auditioned and she was the best. And you
Yeah.
wonder when you watch this film, how? And I don't like to harp on acting, but she didn't act. She was not
No.
acting. That
Everything
was
was so
just,
monotone too.
yes. That was like, there's this director, Stuart Paul, and he found this French Italian girl, and she cannot act that much. Or, she was in Dollface, Blind Ghost, Vamp Father, and she's not the best actress, but she done way more emoting in her broken English than this girl did in her bad freaking British, Scottish, whatever it was. Anyway, you can't fucking understand a word she's saying because it's like under her breath. And like, she's like a foot tall. And here I'm just looking at her like they're really trying to play this chick up, and she's only like 5 foot nothing, if that. Like everyone's towering over her, and she's supposed to be, and she's like she can't cower in fear. She the emoting and just the acting is just not good. And again, she was picked out of everyone that auditioned. Um, like honestly, I would have gave it to Danielle. I mean, hell, I loved her in Cinderella's Curse as the mother. I'm like, at
Yeah.
least she could act. Yeah, I wouldn't care. But no, we had to get Miss I don't know what to do and just look like I'm scared. Like there was parts in this film where it just like it looked like a fan film of like, let's do Mickey Mouse and why not throw Pooh into the mix? And it's just
Yeah.
like throwing all these things and it's just like felt like a very bad fan film. But
That
no, I mean honestly, half of those probably are on Tubi. But no, we had to throw this in there because it's a
I would
Mickey
rather
Mouse
watch a
fucking exploitation
fan
film.
film.
Yeah, but there's so many issues with this film, and like that kind of hindered the fun that I was sort of a little bit of enjoyment I was having with the gore and just like seeing Art the Terrifier mouse, um,
Yeah.
because like they throw stuff in there and like I was like into it, like medical experimented crazy doctor, sort of human centipede doctor, but he's getting people out of like high prison penitentiaries and like doing experiments on him and like, oh, he's just a crazy individual, he's psycho, and like he just like wanted this experiment, this procedure done, and just like he revels in it, like the guy that soon became the mouse. And Dr. Ruber was like, he's my first son, and he calls him his children. And then of course the second one, we have to get it out there, is Pooh. And you might wonder, I wonder what happened to the mask in the original Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey. I mean, it wasn't, in the lore of Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey. We know the first one is a film within the second film. So it's not technically the actual film, not the original Pooh. And so basically now, this is canon, even though it's not. Because they decided to make a knockoff film with the Pooh mask. And to make him fucking Jason from fucking New Blood with the chain wrapped around his neck, a little bit of Jason Lives in there with the overalls and the stuff. It's just like they just really just threw everything at the mix, and it just did not work. And like, I liked parts of it. I was rooting for it, but then just like everything else with the characters just sucked. And it's just like, no, this sucks ass. I mean, it's not as, again, it's a slight notch above the Mousetrap, but the film still sucks. Even if there is more gore, the CGI is awful. We have to get into the CGI. Ian, I know I'm rambling, but this is just one of those
You're
movies where you just
fine.
have to ramble. Get
Yeah,
your
no.
thoughts and opinion, and then we'll get into the spoilers.
This movie had quite a lot going for it at moments, but it was just so flat.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it was honestly like, for as much as going on, it was boring, even with the gore. Like again,
no, exactly. That's
we were
I was
having
like,
I was into it for a point, but then like it just started to like keep repeating the same thing over and over, and I was just like, no, I was dozing in and out. I mean, obviously, I had a long
so was
couple
I.
days, but still, like it was just like you said, it's just like it hits this flat, continuous tone, and you're just like nodding back and forth, like do
Yeah,
something interesting. Like the characters weren't
I
interesting.
I felt like I was just like it was just crazy because I was like, this I was like, this feels like it should be interesting. I was like, I am either really more tired than I thought I was going into this film, or this movie is just not, something is just off about it the entire time. And I mean, the CGI was just so unnecessary. Like even like I don't care, spoilers or whatever, kind of, not really, but like at the end of the movie, they pull a tarp off of a tank, and the tarp was CGI, and it was like glitched. It looked like, they sped it up really fast, and then they hit the tank with a CGI crowbar and broke the tank, and it glitched where they looked like they just cut out and cut back in real fast and
Mhm.
was backwards. I was like, "What the hell?" I was like, I thought like at first I actually thought that my uh computer like just had froze the movie, and it just did that where it like freezes for a second and then speeds it back up to catch up. But I was like, okay, no, that's just what the movie was. I was like, holy shit, this is, and the audio was just awful.
Oh
Like
god.
I couldn't
Whoever
hear.
this guy needs to get fired, honestly. Like the audio, the dubbing, the sound mixing, whoever did it, don't ever hire him. I mean, I hate to say it because, like, again, you couldn't understand a single word coming from anybody. And then there's the dubbing between Chloe's dad and Janet, and I don't even know who the fuck Janet is. They just introduced that character randomly when the dad's looking for Chloe, and like they're talking normally, and then of course they like pan behind their backs, or they couldn't do the on set, so they dub it over. And like the dubbing is like even worse. It's like a Godzilla movie where it's so
Yeah,
fucking awful, where the dubbing is just like really campy. And then the running sounds is like galloping horseshoes, and just like you're watching like behind the scenes of them, like how an animated film makes its sounds, and it's just like, and the way it's running is just like so continuous, and like, oh my god, it's just like it was nerve wracking, just like the running sounds and the dubbing and the audio, and like again, you couldn't understand a single thing anyone was saying because the audio was so low, and then even Tubi closed captioning can't understand what's being spoken
yeah,
half the time.
like
Like
that was
you put on the closed captions just as like get some idea of what everyone's saying, and even the person that in did the Tubi subtitles couldn't even get it right. They're like, "I'm gonna bury you," and it's like burn. And like, what? Like there's so going on and on. It's like so many little inconsistencies and just like issues with like it's just
yeah.
ridiculous.
No, like this movie was a clusterfuck of just a big old nothing burger because there's like no
Yeah.
substance. The storyline, like, spoilers for toward the end of the movie, so whatever. It doesn't even matter. Don't watch this. Um, they randomly I mean, the plot was like what? They were hunting women to make a bride, and then they were like, this one was like, "There's other ways you could do this." I was like, "Yeah, there is." And then they were like, "Well, you know, like Pooh and Mickey had a fight for a girl to have a bride or whatever, the first one to get one."
It's like again, like he created again. He calls them Dr. Roop calls it Mouse and Bear instead of Mickey and Pooh, but whatever. We're just gonna do Mickey and Pooh. It's easier than Mouse and Bear. But um, he created Mickey first, and he was the more psychotic of the inmates. And then he created Pooh, which is his second son. And he's more laid back a little bit, just like shy in a way. Pooh is, and so it. And then this doctor again. I don't know where the doctor came from. I don't know. But he's there, and he just lives in the fairgrounds, I guess. I don't know. Um, and so he decided it's time to make Mickey a bride, and he wants it from female victims, and he wants it to piece the bride together with various body parts instead of just making like one woman like a Bride of Frankenstein. It is, or let me rephrase that: a bride of Minnie Mouse. Um, we he has to piece it together piece
God,
by
this is so
piece.
dumb.
So he gets like an arm, a hand, like a shoulder,
Yeah.
um, and it just like doesn't make sense. But whatever. It's one of those movies where just like it's Ian. We went to that realm again of the world of just because.
Really?
It's
No,
been a
like, and
while.
even they bring it up in the movie. Like, they literally even state how dumb of a premise this was in their own movie. That I
Yeah.
was like, "What?" I was like, "This isn't smart storytelling." I was like, "This is just dumb." Oh, it
And
was
so
just
basically he sends Mickey out to do all these killings to bring body parts back to him to make a bride. But then like Mickey he just kills him, and like at one point he brings a dude arm back, or just a dude in general, I don't know. He said no, it has to be female body parts. And then just like Dr. Rupert just decides, my two sons you must fight for some odd reason for my enjoyment.
yeah.
And then like they start having a fight for like a bride, even though just because. And then everyone's running around and just running here and there, and then Mickey can just teleport now. There's like no sense of timing where everything's happening. It's just like now he's here, now he's there, now he's here. Like why is he going after the guy in that runs the tavern? What was his point? There's no reason to go after him, but he just goes after him and kills him. How does he know where Chloe's dad and Janet live? And again, who the hell's Janet? I don't even know if they even mention it. Is it like a sister? Is it her dad's sister? It doesn't make
Yeah,
sense.
no, I have no idea.
And then it's just like he's just teleporting all over the place, and like now, and then just the overhead shots, the overlays where it's like showing this like the establishing shots of where this is happening, and it doesn't make sense. Like they're showing this fairground, and there's all these people on the fairground. Like film, you set up a crucial point at the beginning of the movie when everyone's in the bar. Hey, the fairground's closed. Let's sneak in. Establishing shots with a bunch of people on the fairground riding the rides doesn't work.
Yeah. This movie was
And
just
then like they're on this,
awful.
and then they're showing this hotel with this Ferris wheel, and so it's like, where's this at? Like everyone lives like in like a mile, like a half a block distance of each other, apparently, to make everything so easy to get to for some reason. It doesn't make sense.
No, not in the slightest. Like, there's nothing. Like, all the interesting parts were just the kills. I mean, I thought
Yes,
the mask looked cool. I honestly, I was like, "That's a nice," I was like, "Okay, whatever." But I was like, I felt like this was a Louisa film because of like they had so much going for it, and there was, like there's always a setup, and then there's usually like a letdown. But this was just a flat line. Like, just every once in a while you'll see like a little ridge, but nope.
there's a glimmer of hope, and then it just hits a pothole, and there's the tire, that all air leaks from the tire, and like,
I
well,
think
that was fun.
I think I completely just like I think halfway through the movie, by the halfway mark was when I was just like, this is nothing. Nothing is going
Yeah.
on. Like everything about this should be interesting. Why is there a guy that looks like Winnie the Pooh here, dressed exactly the same way? That would be fun. Nope. I was like, because I liked the Winnie the Pooh movies, and I was like, okay, I was like, this isn't going to be
Yeah,
interesting.
it's honestly
Yeah.
the one of the like, when you put this in, that's the one thing you did not expect to see is like, "Holy shit, there's poo," and he's cutting off a lady's hand.
Yeah, and I was like, okay. I was like, so this is going to be like trying to. I was like, maybe Mickey. I was sitting here thinking, I was like, maybe Mickey will be like something that comes up in the future Winnie the Pooh movies. Now I'm like, God, I hope not. Like,
Yeah.
and that right there, I was like, okay, like I was sitting there just like I paused it for a second, trying to think. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna make some guesses of where this movie's gonna go. Like what they might introduce, whatever. And I was like, nothing prepared me for what happened, what the story was. I was like, this is ridiculous. I was like, how is this going to tie into the future Winnie the Pooh movies? I was like, because if they're just using this character for no fucking reason, then this just throws like then there's no integrity to that character at all. That
Mhm.
it's like they're just going to reuse this character whenever they want for these movies
Yeah.
because they
There
can.
it's like there's a film called The Appearing, and like the big point of that film is like there's this house, but they're using the psycho house. But in the film, it's not the psycho house, and they're using it as a different way. But you look at it, it's the psycho house. Like that is Pooh from Blood and Honey One, and
And
there's
it's
no way it's not that. And
no,
it's the
exactly.
exact same thing. And so they're trying to shoehorn or you know you um oh, what's the word? Oh, whatever it is, pull a fast one on you, and like, no, we're just doing this for a quick buck. We got the mask from the first one. Like, we're gonna use it here for no fucking reason than just hey, look at us. We have
At
it.
least goes the trolls route with it.
Yeah.
Where, it's clearly killer clowns from the from outer space, but repurposed. Give it a different
Hmm.
color. Put it in put like I would have been okay if they used the mask and just made him green or purple or whatever, and then give him a different outfit. But they literally went out of their way to dress him the exact same way and just like give him like that like the same mannerisms as he did in the first movie.
Yeah.
Like I was like, this is
I mean,
literally
like I
poo.
said, technically it's canon because at the end of the first film, he's like, "I'll get you, Christopher Robin," and then like now we have this where it's
Yeah.
like he was created, which what happened in the second one, Blood and Honey 2, where it was, experimented on to create, Pooh. And now this one is doing the same thing, but with the original mask of the first film. And like, so it's like he went from 100 Acre Wood to this part of London, wherever it's at.
Yeah.
And it's like,
That's
it's just like, it really throws it's a turd in the punch bowl. Like I said, it's like a fan film. It's like these Friday the 13th fan films where like they're just coming up with like these new things. Like it's not Friday the 13th, but it's like they're trying to pawn off as like a legitimate, at least some flair to it, and add like story elements and talking about Jason's father and stuff like that. And like they're doing all these theories in the fan films, and like this one is like theories in the Pooniverse, but it's an actual film. And it's like it's not fan film, it's just an actual produced film. Man, this is I don't know. There's like so many things just like harken back to like issues like we saw in like Punch and Judy. You know, like the one thing I bring up, she goes into the house, Grandma, are you there? And she's dead. This one, Chloe and Kim, they're watching their friend and they're talking to her, and like she gets attacked by Mickey. Meg is her name. She gets attacked, and like the only people there are Chloe, Kim, and Meg. And Meg dies. And then the friend comes in and they're like, we got to get out of here. Meg died. And like, wait a second. How do you know Meg died? And like, there a scene missing? Like, how do you know? Am I just supposed to like, oh, he might have came across it. Okay, make the point. Oh, I just saw her body. She's dead. You know, like it. Like he came off like he was there, and he saw her die. And
Yeah,
then
no,
and
it
then
made
there's the
no
news
sense.
segment and then there's the news segment and like, oh, there's a killer on the loose. Like, where's the how is there a killer when everything's happening there at the fairgrounds? No one
Yeah,
knows that they're being killed. And like the news is like, there's a killer on the loose. Like where? Like the bodies of the two girls in the beginning are there at the fairground. Like it
yeah.
doesn't make sense.
I no, like it was just like they were throwing shit at the wall and they were just filming random scenes that they were going to add to the movie, but like they decided to just not do that and but keep all the scenes they had already filmed.
Yeah.
Like that's the only explanation I can think
Like
of.
it was edited by someone that had ADD. Like honestly, like we don't need this, we don't need that. You know, like
Yeah,
now he
no.
can teleport here and there. That makes sense. Now he's jumping over picnic tables. Now he's up on top of the Ferris wheel. Now he's in the teacup ride. Now he's on the hurricane spin around fast ride. Like
Yeah,
what?
all while also engaged in a fight with poo.
Yeah,
That was the
it's
thing.
like
I
that
was just like,
Family Guy
what
with
the
the
fuck?
it's like Family Guy that segment with Peter Griffin and the chicken and
Yeah.
like everything like normal day and then all of a sudden here comes chicken and they just have like a knockout brawl for like ongoing period of time. And like that's how this was with like here comes Pooh,
I
and then
just
they end up with a fucking shark attack. Like, oh, that's
honestly
something. Just because.
honestly, I think the whole poo thing put this movie even more into a clusterfuck of a film because like
Yeah, like they could have done anything
it
else,
really
but not
honestly
have
kind
the
of made me
Pooh
mad.
monster. Yeah,
Like I honestly got a little miffed because I was like once it dawned on me, I was like, oh, this isn't technically supposed to be poo. I was like, this is then like this movie lost all merit. The character has lost all merit. I can't believe. I mean, I kind of can believe it, but like
yeah,
like there's no integrity to poo anymore because who's to say that this mask won't be reused for another movie and another movie? And now there's I don't know. I feel like they're just throwing it in for a quick buck, like you said, and
yeah. Like I said, like
but they're not even
where the
capitalizing
first
on it.
no, no, they're doing they're capitalizing on Mickey, the non Pooh. I mean, that's just like I said, it's a cameo. Like, but as you said,
Yeah,
like they throw that in there, like, wait a second, that doesn't wait, and then you just, again, like I'm going through everything, like that doesn't make sense because, like, you go to the first one, like, so technically the people that made the first Winnie the Pooh, again, the film, not the actual director, who did both the first one and the second one, is like the people that made, in the second one, the person that made the first one is like also the person that did this one and decided, hey, the first film got popular. I'm gonna do this now. So it's like this weird mess of like it's just like convoluted, you know, paper
yeah,
trail. It's just like ugh. It's just like no, because like then it just means like the people that made the first Winnie the Pooh in part two, it became a hit, and then like okay, we can. it's like the Birdemic films, like someone, like, oh, or make some more out of there and just kind of lose the nature and the fun of it. That made the
Yeah.
first one funny or something like that and ridiculous. And like this one, like, oh, I'm gonna shoehorn poo in everything I make now. And it's just like, again, it's like that weird film ties. It has no ties whatsoever, but it kind of does. And it's just like it's a weird interlocking mechanism with poo. And it's just like, no, like we said, like if we had a different bear mask, or if we had some other creature, it would have been fine. I wouldn't have had an issue with it. And again, it's a stupid poo mask, right? But it's like
It-
it really kind of
yeah.
dampers the film. And like they could have done something else. You have Mickey. You could have made it a freaking dog. I mean, Steamboat Willie. You could have done the whatever else was other creatures in there. Give
Yeah,
him
they could
long
have
ears or something.
yeah, they could have done made Pooh look like Pete.
Yeah,
Like I said, I would have been fine, but there's just so much other shit wrong with this film. I think that they did that just as trying to have a saving grace,
yeah.
and it didn't. It actually made this
It,
movie worse. That whole
the,
subplot of them fighting was just stupid.
yeah.
Oh,
Again, like as you said, like the everything else, like again, it was fodder. But like the gore was decent. The practical effects were decent. It's just like there was like things working in its favor, but then there's like 15 other things that just like stomp the mud hole in its ass.
yeah.
You know, and like, no, you want to have some fun. Like again, I was into it for a little bit, as I mentioned. Like, but then like just the way it slowly progressed, and just like, all right, I'm into this a little bit. Okay, this is not bad. What are we doing? Why can't I hear anything? Why is this actress not that good? Why are we doing this now? And it just like kept going that way. And just like, why is the audio bad? Why is the dubbing horrible? Why is he teleporting? Where the fuck did Pooh come from? What's this subplot of getting a bride? And the thing with the bride, they couldn't even make it like a mini. It's just a regular corpse. Like they couldn't put like little ears on her or anything like that, a pointed nose. But no, it's just a regular person in the tank at the end of it. It's just like, again, things that like should be noticeable when you're making the film, if you're wanting to do this subplot, and then you don't do it. Even though again, it's not technically an actual mutated mouse. You don't get to see his face. I mean, you get his mask comes off like once, but like it's very quick and you can't see it. So like again, you could, I don't know. And like it's just one of those where it's just there's too many butting heads with the film where it just like there's parts of it that are okay, and then just a lot of stuff that just does not work. And it's just like it's one of those films where it just feels like it's just insulting you, even though like you're
Yeah.
kind of having fun. It's like that, what is it, Last Resort restaurant where you go there and they just put the little dunce cap on you and they just ridicule you. Dick's Last Resort or something like that. It just felt like that. Like I'm enjoying this nice meal, but I'm just getting called a fat ass, for 80 minutes, or something
Yeah.
stupid like that.
Yeah, I think I don't even know if there's any much, blah. I don't think there is much more to we can really dive into this film because there's really like nothing. There's nothing of substance in this film. Not even
I mean, look at,
like a Louisa film. At least there's like shit to actually talk about. Like give her, like I think some of her movies are at least like even the bad ones you can like talk about for a while. This one was just like,
yeah,
I mean we can bitch and complain, about every tiny little detail,
Yeah.
which is honestly all I want to do because this movie pissed me off. But like,
Yeah, this is one of those movies where, like, if me and you were in a room together, this is just like we would be just MST3K in this shit. It's just like, oh
I
my
would have,
god, this is all.
yeah.
This is
I
just like
mean, and if it was,
so many problems.
yeah, no, like if this was a movie I would have just put on for no reason, I would have shut it off by halfway point because I'm like, I don't see this getting better. Like I,
Yeah, it's like up to it. Like I was into, like I said again, like I was into it, and then once like it was only just Chloe and Kim left, and like the only ones left alive almost, and her dad. But I'm not talking about her dad. But like when they get into Dr. Rupert's warehouse, that's when it just like kind of nosedived, where it's just like, oh, okay, this is not good, and this is not where it should be going. But here we are, and it's just like, oh, you're all stuck here now. We're gonna have fun with you, and then fucking she runs out the door. That Mickey comes in. It's just fucking
yeah,
ridiculous. There's like so many inconsistencies. It's just like you're going against your own rules that you set up. You don't know what you're wanting to do, and then and again, I like the gore was good. Some of the practical effects were good. The eyeball scene where she's getting both eyeballs ripped out, that was cool. And
yeah,
then like the intestines, the bumper cart track's death was stupid.
yeah,
But it was like that beginning, the whole setup was like out of Terrifier 2, where he's in the little wagon. And then he gets in the bumper car, and then he goes again. It's like the stupid things. I wish he just kept with like the kind of the stupidity of like again of Art the Clown, where he's like acting ridiculous. And again, the guy playing Mickey did a good job. I mean, he's just doing his Art the Clown impression, but he did fine. But everything else is what the film really hangs on, and that it does not work. Where it's just like none of the characters have any depth. I mean,
yeah.
none. Like, oh, you're on Tinder, you're cheating on me. I'm not on Tinder. Show me your phone. I don't have to prove anything to you. And then here comes Mickey. And like, like that's
Yeah.
just like that's the depth we have. But I don't know, man. Yeah, there's really not much here. Again, like I said, it has some okay practical effects, but it's one of those that it's just like you have to watch it with a group of buddies. That's the only way
Yeah.
to
It's
that's
good
the
to
only way to
laugh at,
really have fun with it. Yeah. I mean, it's
but
not as boring as the Mousetrap, because Mousetrap was
oh
boring, and there's
god.
just like a lot of like stupid things in that one. But this is like stupid on like on another level, where it's
You
just
know,
like
I think this Mickey Mouse would have been much better in the Mousetrap. I was just thinking about that because I was like,
well, it should have been that way. Yeah.
no, that's like that. I was just thinking, I was like, if you would have taken out whatever the fuck they were trying to do with that of
Yeah.
Mousetrap, that that movie shouldn't exist. And put him in it, this would have been a much better film because like both films would have been better because
Hmm.
at least you would have had an interesting like kill. And I don't give a shit about all the teleportation shit, but like what they did in Mousetrap was absolutely stupid. But like,
Yeah.
at least it would have had some decent kills and would have probably been a little bit better. But I don't know. I'm just grasping at straws at this point.
Yeah. Like I said, it has moments, but like I said, it just does not hold your attention that well, even with those moments playing out. Like again,
Yeah.
I like the effects, but like the characters. I mean, again, it's a stupid slasher movie. I mean, what are we? I mean, what? what else were we expecting? But still, like we expect a better movie than this. And then like the end of it where like what happens to Dr. Rupert and then like the
Yeah.
post credit scene and like what was the what okay, so what's that now? Does he have a twin? Is he a, something? What's going on? Like that doesn't even that just comes out of nowhere. Like okay, so he's not okay, whatever. I mean, we're gonna continue this universe now. Um, but yeah, there's just like again, like I think the film could have been good if we had a better sound mixer, better just like editor, and
Yeah.
been able to fix all the little problems with the audio because it's just so cheap. And like the CGI, I could have lived with the CGI. All right, CGI tarp. I laugh at stupid shit like that. That's stupid,
No, yeah,
you know.
no.
But like they needed a better actress to play Chloe because
Yeah.
Chloe, my God, God bless her heart for trying. It's like her first acting job, and she got it out of everyone else who fucking auditioned. That's who you picked, the one that can't emote and just can barely talk above a whisper. And an accent is like it's not one of those British accents. It's like thick that you can't really hear it, but it felt like mumble mouth at times. And
Yeah.
like and the to be closed captioning was like right there with it, like noises. Some parts like noises. It was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Oh, and like again, they got a haunted house fairground to use for a weekend. They made a movie. Bravo. But man, it could have been so much better because they're doing Art the Clown in the form of Mickey Mouse. I mean, yeah. I mean, they did it better than the mean one, but at least the mean one felt like a movie. Even though it
Yeah.
was not good, and like the story was not good for what they were trying to provide, produce with the mean one, but it made sense. This one is just like it did not make well, the main one didn't make sense either for their story, but I digress. But this one is just again, it's just all over the place.
Yeah. Unnecessary cameo. At a point, when does a cameo just stop being a cameo and just being a character? Because like they were in the film the whole time. Like, well,
Yeah,
90%
Pooh
of
was
the
in
movie.
there. He was in there for a good portion. I don't know,
Oh,
Ian. But man, that was something. But yeah, I
unfortunately.
think that's gonna do it because I don't think we need to bitch and moan for another however long because again, we can just pinpoint and dissect everything. I think we said pretty much everything we could. Um,
Yeah.
without repeating ourselves too many times. But as always, Ian, it's great talking with you about these shitty movies, and
Oh yeah.
it's always fun, and it's not gonna stop. We still got
Nope.
more. February,
Sadly.
February is a fun one, I'll tell you that. Um, but as always, I appreciate everyone for listening, and we will see you next time on Horror Night Oasis.
Good night.